This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. JLP MP Dave Brown fires back at the former top cop Cornwall Bickford. Hanover Eastern Member of Parliament Dave Hume Brown has taken issue with remarks made by retired Senior Superintendent of Police Cornwall Bickford in a recent news interview, in which Ford was critical of his former colleagues in the Jamaica Constabulary Force, who he said are now serving members of the governing Jamaica Labour Party. Brown, himself a former cop who Ford mentioned in his scathing comments, had some sobering advice for Ford during his contribution to the State of the Constituency debate in the House of Representatives last Wednesday. "Your time would have been better spent sharing the expertise you have learned during your tenure, rather than your attempt at a cheap political job," Brown responded. Speaking about the crime situation in his constituency, Brown stressed that the men and women of the JCF need the country's support. "I want to add my voice to the voices of well-thinking Jamaicans to say crime is not just for the police to solve. All Jamaicans need to reject crime, and by doing so, reject criminals," he said. Brown argued that there are still many outstanding people working in the JCF who he served with. "So yes, Mr. Bickford, you were my colleague when I served. So yes, Mr. Bickford, I served the JCF," he exclaimed. Responding to the news at the recent staging of the Opposition People's National Party's 84th Annual Conference at the National Arena, Ford, when asked about his political affiliation after having served the JCF for so long, remarked, "Tell them to go ask Newton Amos and the 9 JLP ex-police them who are Minister of Government, ex-minister. Tell them to go ask Homer Davis from Montego Bay, him a ex-police too. One when named Brown, a police, them to go ask them. Amos are the first one we fi ask, allow me." Continuing on his rant, Ford said, "One not take set campaign people. A whole heap of laborette, ex-police and minister and senator, ask them." Ford also slammed the Jamaica Labour Party government, arguing that Jamaicans are suffering under the current administration, which he also accused of being corrupt. JCF's mobility further bolstered with new vehicles. The Jamaica Constabulary Force's mobility has been further bolstered with the handing over of 59 new vehicles for the organization's fleet. The presentation was made on Friday during a brief handover ceremony on the grounds of the Office of the Police Commissioner on Old Hope Road in St. Andrew. The four-purpose units comprising 12 Mitsubishi Outlanders, 12 Kia Sorento sports utility vehicles, 4 Toyota Hilux pickups, 1 Toyota Hiace bus, and the 30 motorcycles are to be deployed to high-priority areas island-wide. Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister of National Security, Dr. Harris Chang, in his remarks, said the provisions underscore the government's commitment to improve and expand the capacity of the police to restore public order and safety. With the motor vehicles provided, of course, that's a critical part of policing because response time involves mobility, communication, and well-trained officers. The mobility gives us a level of reassurance and the confidence of citizens who can see the response time of the police and see them very visible on the highways and the communities therein, Chang said. Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson said the motorcycles will primarily be used by the JCF's quick response teams in major towns across the island to apprehend criminals. "Our mobility is one of the key pillars on which we operate. It's critical in an environment where the persons who are doing the wrong things in society are very mobile. They are traversing the country, and we also need to be able to move likewise and intercept them and engage them as necessary," he noted. Consequently, Anderson said these vehicles will be deployed in the most efficient way possible to deal with that matter largely, and as more come in, we will plug the gaps that exist across the country in terms of mobility. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of National Security, Courtney Williams, said additional vehicles are to be acquired for the JCF by the end of 2022. "What we are doing is enhancing the capacity of the police to be able to respond, but not just to respond, but also to be proactive in the efforts to enhance public safety and to reduce crime and violence," he said. communities in St. Andrew Eastern to benefit from green spaces, says Williams. Several communities within the constituency of St. Andrew Eastern are to benefit from the creation of green spaces for residents to engage in recreational and other activities. The communities are Augustown, Hermitage, African Gardens, and the Goldsmith Villa. Member of Parliament for the constituency, Favour Williams, made the announcement during her recent contribution to the 2022-2023 State of the Constituency debate in the House of Representatives. The project will benefit approximately 10,920 residents and will cost $10 million, Williams shared. She said the project represents the continuation of the build phase of the Zone of Special Operations that is being implemented by the Jamaica Social Investment Fund. Augustown is one of 7 ZOZOs in place across the island. The special security measure is credited with bringing relative calm and a sense of security in the communities in which they are imposed. They are implemented in 3 phases: clear, hold, and build. Williams explained that the design of the green spaces will include small parks, gardens, roadside greenery, and vegetation barriers. Fencing will also be installed at selected spaces. She said the upgrading should also improve the community's general environment and aesthetics. In the meantime, Williams said major road construction has been done and water infrastructure expanded under the build phase of the ZOZO in Augustown and the Goldsmith Villa. The build phase started in earnest in February 2022, and the total amount that has been spent over the time is about $202 million to rehabilitate roadways, put in the associated drain channels, and the installation of approximately 1.365 kilometers of water lines and the laterals in African Gardens and the Goldsmith Villa, the Member of Parliament said. Cuthbert Flynn looks to Essex Hall water supply scheme to solve a chronic water problem in her constituency. Member of Parliament for St. Andrew West Rural, Juliet Cuthbert Flynn, is concentrating her efforts on resolving the chronic decades-long water problem in her constituency. That problem sees communities like Lawrence Tavern and others going for days and weeks at a time without a piped water. The 2-term MP is banking on the $800 million Essex Hall water supply scheme, which is underway to solve the long-standing problem. She told the House of Representatives during her contribution to the State of the Constituency debate last week that when completed, the Essex Hall scheme will go a far way in alleviating the problem. On completion of this Essex Hall water supply scheme, it is expected to produce 0.75 million imperial gallons of potable water per day and serve a population of 15,000 to 20,000 persons in the communities of Essex Hall, Salisbury Plain, Border, Unity, Lawrence Tavern, Claypole District, Burnt Shop, Content, Cavaliers, Pinto, and the Lazy Water to all communities must be a priority for sustainable development, said Cuthbert Flynn. I look forward to more communities being upgraded with larger pipelines and a consistent water supply, and I commend this government and the National Water Commission's efforts in doing so, said the Minister of State in the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Cuthbert Flynn said it was no secret that my constituency suffers from major water woes, including frequent water lockups for days and even months, and with the communities simply not having access to the commodity at all. She noted that in some instances, residents have been without piped water for upwards of 30 years. Since I was elected in 2016, I have made sure that a priority of mine is getting the people the access that they deserve to this commodity. Cuthbert Flynn said that among the ongoing measures to address the problem are the upgrading of the pump house in Cavaliers and the impending purchase of a new tank for the Cavaliers district. Additionally, a new tank will be purchased for Mount Airy, which will serve residents there and in surrounding areas like Mount Prospect, Mount James, New Garden, and Mountain Spring. I am happy to also state that we will be seeing the upgrading of pipelines in the areas of Padmore and Lacey. There has been great effort by the NWC to upgrade pipelines across the constituency, as well as a focus on the metering of new customers, and I welcome these efforts, Cuthbert Flynn said. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.